Everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Veda Makam, it's once again good to be with you, live and direct. We have today's topic is Moorish provincial government. Moorish provincial government. Now, it's very clear, important that we have come to have a proper comprehension of this Moorish movement. Over my 27 years of observation, I have seen individual processes, Moorish body politics working individually. There needs to be a extreme concentrated effort to facilitate national unity among the various Moorish body politics and also helping to facilitate Moorish body politics and Moorish governments throughout our Moorish territories. The United Republic of Morocco has taken on the task of facilitating the various Moorish body politics and helping to establish elders to establish provincial governments in their Moorish territories / communities. We have the website UnitedRepublicOfMorocco.com. We are working to facilitate the unity of the various Moorish body politics into a central governing body will give us the political leverage to enforce the treaties among the treaty nations. Also to send a package to an international package to the international community, helping to facilitate a central governing body through the free will of the people, whereby the representatives of the various Moorish governments will come to sign in a convention, a treaty which will unite us, a formal recognition among ourselves as a central governing body. So this is a extreme concentrated effort, not loosely done, not loosely defined. So it's important that this is important that we carry this out. I often hear more say, I am sovereign. And they raise this Moorish flag. I am sovereign. I got to get my sovereignty. I'm going to get nationalized so I can be sovereign. All right. Let me explain. When you deal with, let's talk metaphysics. The sun stimulates the serotonin and melatonin, activating the neuromelanin in the brain. The pineal gland, which is calcified among a lot of us, with proper dieting, with spirituality, the science of controlled breathing, with the natural sound, harmonious sound of A432, which the sun, that sunlight, which is a source of energy, stimulate the snake and elephant in you. The elephant is representative of the cellular memory. The snake representative of the kundalini energy. On that, you're sovereign. On that. But all right, so when you have what our ancestors did is establish political government structure way before you were born. We entered into treaties, wars and battles, commerce, interchange, international trade, and commerce, enter into negotiated tribute treaties among the European powers that I have listed in, that I have in Moors and Masonry, under the authority, sovereign power of this flag. When you say as a naturalized Moor, I am sovereign, and raise this flag, what you have done, what does that mean politically when you do that? You are not acknowledging a pre-existing sovereign power operating under this flag that negotiated treaties, pre-existing obligations. You have not acknowledged that. You've dismissed it. You have not acknowledged that because you said, I am sovereign. You're not saying Morocco is sovereign. You're saying I am sovereign. The free will. I mean, we can't rise and create a new sovereign power. That's not happening. There's pre-existing obligations done under this flag. The world recognizes this flag. The world recognizes you and government structure. The world recognizes more sovereignty in the pre-existing obligations and Moorish government structure. The treaties recognize Morocco in Moorish government structure. But when you say, I am sovereign, Lucy, you got some explaining to do. Misconcepts. Where you get that from? Lucy, you got some explaining to do. Misconcepts. Misconcepts. So there's why I'm doing this. It's apropos for the topic. Moorish provincial governments. Emphasis is government. If the Russian president stands up before the Russian people and says, I am sovereign. I am sovereign. Russia's sovereign. French premier, I am sovereign. No, France is sovereign. Lucy, you got some explaining to do. Misconcepts. That's all. It's misconcepts. So we have to clarify these misconcepts. I'm doing this way so that, because I know where the misconcepts are. And Tamara asked me about 5 months ago, Abdullah, what is, in your opinion, the greatest obstacle in this Moorish movement? I said, misconcepts. That's misconcepts among unconscious Moors, misconcepts among conscious Moors. We have conscious Moors who have promoted the misconcepts. You have Europeans who have promoted the misconcepts among unconscious Moors. Europeans are not promoting misconcepts among conscious Moors. Your Moors, conscious Moors are promoting misconceptions among conscious Moors. Europeans are promoting misconceptions among unconscious Moors. Also, there are Moors, conscious Moors, who are promoting misconceptions among unconscious Moors. Absolutely. All right. So I wanted to start off with that to put this presentation on the right foot. All right. So I'll hand it over right now to Shem Malachi Bey.
Thank you, Professor Abdullah. Thank you, Professor Abdullah. Provincial governments, when we stare down that path, that is a firm path, and I'm going to go in on why I really think Tamara and Professor Abdul, along with the caucus, where we had discussion, and they came up with the old principal way of Moorish provincial governments. Now, when somebody come up with something like that, that's founded on principle. You go to the Iroquois Confederacy Constitution, it's bounded in principles. You go to Lenape, when they signed a treaty with the United States. Now remember, we're going to start there. Provincial governments of the Moors always existed. It's just that in the time for the last, 245 years, that not just the Europeans, like Professor Abdul say, over a period of time, Moors participating into government affairs and government political arenas that they're not supposed to be a part of. Now I'm gonna go back and look at a concept. When the United States, I have to use the United States because you know what? On Earth, there has not been a corporation, a beast. I'm gonna use the word beast. I'm gonna use that the word Daniel said beast, made up of so many different nationalities in the Moorish land. And when they go and teach in their schools, even to deceive their own people, they teach a fraud. But at least one thing they do teach, that they even though it's a lie, they fought in the war, they got their independence. But what I'm saying, there's something being taught, provincial government for them. But then go back and look and say, wait a minute, why do I have to vote? Why do I have to register? Why is somebody going to take something from me? Why I got to be penalized for saying who I am, my consanguinity? And why is these people of different nationalities, immigrants from Europe, is here and have not a shame no words in the world to say where they come from or what their people fought and what they did, even though a lot of that smoke screens. So here we is. Because I'm going to say something. I'm not going nowhere off this provincial government until it's done. And somebody said, what are you talking about, Shem? Because the United States, you go into their school system right now. They still teach about their flag. Bomb, bursting, near. I pledge allegiance to. You know why they teaching? This is a system. You know, I'm going to tell you why they're teaching them. That is handed down as a claim of inheritance. So they can know that structure they got, this is who put it together, your people. But watch this. You don't ask yourself a question when you learn, when you hear. Because in life, warning comes through hearing first. Gotta have an ear to hear. Now, here's the United, first of all, not the United States. Here's Moors from the other side of the world coming to Morocco. Because this not the Fez. This is Morocco. The other is the statutory part of Morocco. This is Morocco we in. But you know something? Morocco, the most loving people in the world, nations on this side of the world. Let everybody come into commerce, do stuff for everybody. And yet the damn Moors, every time they try to claim something, do something, everybody in line with a baseball bat a gun, fighting squad, a tribunal. Man, everybody, you the worstest person in the world. And you gotta say, when somebody direct a lot of negative into one center of something that's, and you ask yourself a question, but what is everybody mad about? I thought it's nothing wrong with claiming that. Yes, it is. To them, it is. Because if you claim that, then like Professor Abdul said, that's that sovereign power, Morocco, her. You claiming your mother, your motherland. You claim your mother. Yes, you found your mother. They don't want you to find your motherland. I'm going to show what I mean in nature. Look at the seals. Look at the penguins. Look at the lion. Every animal, when it had birth, need that time with their mother for that baby to go ahead and get mature and learn the facts of life. Elephants does it, lions, all the animals, even insects. This is a mother thing. If the child breaks away from his mother and lose that affection, attention, then he can't find his motherland, nativity, which is his mother. Then he'll know where his motherland is at. Because your motherland supposed to be taught to you from your mother. So I asked myself a question, Professor Abdullah. This United States that everybody's so crazy about. I'm not here talking about them. I'm just telling the truth. You're crazy about them. But we can show right now that an independent Moorish nation gave them asylum. Oh, hold up. Are you serious? Listen to this. I'm going to say this again. You go to the 5 United States. Professor Abdul going to put it on the board. See, we got to keep going back to this because, see, like Moors hear stuff and they're like, oh, man, well, that's how it was then. The United States don't feel that way about their government, their people. They don't feel that way. And they're not going to let you come in their school teaching anything else. And I'm not angry at them. That's their right to take care of their people. Now, here we are. We got the Lenape Moors, independent nation. We got the Iroquois, about what, 13, 11, 12 nations. But let me stop. Let me get here to 5 United States. Now, we're going to talk about exile. Wait. We got to stay on this. We definitely got to stay on this because this seems like everybody just, number one, the first United States was the United States that was founded under the sovereignty of the Lenape Moors because that was a sovereign nation. That's not an occupying sovereign. That's a sovereign body to own land. Allodian rights, Moors pedigrees is in that nation. 1778. Of the Lenape Moors nation, the Lenape nation. Now, you notice Abdullah said you can't claim that flag. So the Lenapes had the word nations in that treaty. It didn't say individual. Hold up. It say nation. A nation founded the United States, the United Groups. That treaty they entered with France was just to be acknowledged of saying that we do have some rights and stuff. That don't give you sovereign. France is not a consanguinity sovereign. I mean, this they land. Yeah. So United States had to go to a sovereign independent nation. Now, I'm sure everybody understands this. See, everybody keep thinking the Sultans. The Sultans conquer the nations in Morocco. I want to clear this up today. The Sultans conquer the number 2 with the Articles of Confederacy. That's the other United States. That's the Articles of Confederacy with the second United States, where United States, after becoming in an amnesty, friendship, after getting asylum, being protected by this nation, this Moorish nation, what happened next? They was able to now embody themselves into the Confederacy that already exists among the Moors independent sovereign bodies. In order to incorporate in a sovereign nation land, you must first be at peace with them. And you have to have a treaty. Once you get that, now you can embody yourself and create certain rights for yourself under corporation. That's what happened there. The next thing is they left, they entered the United States. Now they got permission. It goes to the Crown, 1783 treaty. Treaty with British. They go back to the parent now, the mother. They go back to their mother now. And the reason they went back to their mother under the Paris Treaty is because when it was under the United States, there was groups. They wasn't considered as nobody had power to occupy the colony territory that's grant owners by the Crown. So in order to go under them names to get protection, see, they didn't have any protection. The only protection they had was from the linen nappies. And the Air Corps, they was protecting them. They go back to their mother because they want to go back into the political arenas because there's a lot of commerce established with them. So they need to go back under a peace treaty, which is a form of surrender. Yes, that was a form of surrender because the Crown is dictating the things that goes on in that treaty. After this treaty signed, they become now the United States of North America. United States of North America under a new founding charter of Jubilee, a new charter constitution. Now, that was in 1887, wasn't it? They did it. They went to New York, I believe it was. No. That was it 1887? 1801, wasn't it? Some of that? Yeah, 1801. See, they even got the year screwed up in the time because they want to hide this. See, this is why we have to go back to Moorish provincial governments and have to use this chart. Yeah, that's the one New York bankers moved from New York to Philadelphia. Then they was given the permission under the bank statute. They moved Maryland and Virginia ceded the land called a district. They became the United States of North America, meaning that now they become the territory, the lessee in the territories of Great Britain. That's why I say North America. They became United States of North America. You know, that separate them now from the linen nappies, Moors. So now they're under North America, which is the political jurisdiction of the Crown. So here it is, clear as day, that Moors took these people. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to that. I'm gonna still go back so we can go back to the Moors. Well, the bank statute was the thing the bankers put the money up to get them to move to what they call the District of Columbia now. Number five is when they reconstructed there when Lincoln got assassinated. That's the district. Lincoln got assassinated. That's when the war broke out, and nobody's going to tell you why that war. You hear all these professors and they out there lying and scrapping, but go back and look at true principles of law. 1801. A new corporate government is created, and the only parties that signature to it is British subjects. From 1801, now we get to here in 1871. Let's go back a couple years before that with Lincoln, or more. The Moors created the Republican Party and hijacked the United States government. They're not signing to that. See, nobody gonna tell you this right here. Oh, I don't believe that, Shem. Read the documents. Stop playing. The Moors took and hijacked the government by becoming president. That's the emir. Yeah, that led to the 1871 Reconstructed era when Lincoln got assassinated in the second term. He got assassinated. And that war started because the South looked and seen that the majority of the Congress of the House, Representatives, Congress, and a Moor president standing right there, and their charter does not authorize that to happen. So what they do? They get up and walk out on Lincoln. They get up and walk out in that Congress. They show you that I'm not lying. They turn around and told some of them they will get an offer. They take them a military gunpoint and they execute them. When Lincoln got assassinated, they turn around and threaten the Congress. They threaten Congress, or they hide this, don't they? They don't tell you this. They threaten Congress. They threatened the Senate and told them, you ain't gonna get impeached. You're gonna leave with your life. And they scared, they ran. They come to Reconstructed era. Now the war starts. The South had a right to walk out. Because before they formed that agreement, the Lenape was a sovereign power that gave them the sovereignty. See, I'm teaching you something for real. Oh, no, they couldn't do that. Listen, when the Lenape declared them to be a people, they was already free from Great Britain bull crap anyway. They were free from that. When a sovereign in his land gives an occupying sovereign, that gave an occupying sovereign permission to be in their land, and that occupying sovereign has a war, breaks out, and the people flee that occupying sovereign to the lowly entitled, the consanguinity people own the land, lowly entitled. The occupying government can't say nothing. It can't say nothing because the sovereign power that it got was not from conquering. It was the same way from permission to do commerce, peace and commerce. So you didn't conquer Morocco. Morocco allowed you to do it in treaties. They did agreements. So you see why provincial government mores are very, very important. Go back to it again. United States founded under the Lenape Treaty. The reason why we can't go nowhere, and we got to, this is like kindergarten, because see, the Moors are in the mind, the unconscious Moors, that they have to understand this is a structure. I want y'all to hear this. This is a structure. This is structure. What makes it inoperative, because you're not willing to do what people do, claim their country, claim their status, claim to run a political body, to protect themselves. That's what it's all about. Listen, let me say something. Professor Abdul said something, he right. I don't care who it is. When it comes to a principle, an ancient principle, don't come talking to me about a man that only been in the world since the 19th century. Or we gotta go back further than that. We gotta talk about the heart of this flag. This flag is not no one man or no one man doctrination. That's the mother of a people here on earth. That's a mother. That's why it's called motherland. That means the earth is their nutrition, is their way of life, it's their caretaker, it's their shelter. And how you gonna tell somebody come on now, let's stop playing with each other. Let's be for real. The Moors, Lenape Moors, an independent Moorish nation, founded United States, gave them asylum, and she is not being taught in school, because if this taught in school, then they pay flunkies, can't get no money. So it's fellow me, Tamara, the caucus, Abdullah, one of the leading professors that's in this. This man is putting his time, his life, talking this real knowledge. Not no game. He ain't got to stretch out of here and grab this man. Or, he said this. No, the man grabbed the right principles. Because that's what it's going to take to get us back where we need to be at. Is the right principles. And so, me and Abdullah was having a conversation.
Hold on, Shem. You made a good point. Turn up. made a good point because I want that the point not to get lost. You mentioned Jew Ali. And once again, we got some explaining to do. All right. Happy solar return, new Jew Ali, January 8th. All right, where the explaining has to do, Lucy? Drip Shem made a point about Drew Ali. The misconception, though it's not said by anyone in the Moorish Science Temple, expressed, it's not expressed, but through actions, as if we weren't Moors before Drew Ali. You have, there was, Drew Ali did not create the Moorish flag. Drew Ali did not establish the Moorish sovereignty. Drew Ali did not create the Moorish fez. Drew Ali did not create the titles Bey and Eel. Bey is a government title. Bey is a Moorish government title, not owned by no man, no woman. That's a pre-existing sovereignty. The Treaty of Peace and Amity between the Bey of Tripoli and the United States. The Bey and subjects of Tripoli and the United States. Seems to me that Bey's not a last name for anybody. Bey's a last name, how? That's a pre-existing sovereignty. Pre-existing obligations. That's an office. So, misconceptions. So, Moorish provincial governments. There's misconceptions that Drew Ali said, bring our people back into the constitutional fold of government. What does that mean? What constitution and what government? Bring our people back. And the divine warning, well, let's first address what's in the Constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science and the Moorish Science Temple of America. Moors are part and parcel of this said government and must live the life accordingly. Lucy, you got some explaining to do. This said government. What's this said government? It seems to me that Moors have been told that this said government is the United States, that they're part and parcel of this said, that they're part and parcel of the United States and must live the life accordingly. In the divine warning, Drew Ali makes reference to our Constitution, United States of America. So you have 1933, the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia pushed forth, petition Philadelphia to put forth a resolution acknowledging the Moors. I'd like to read that resolution. Shem, you go bring that resolution. I want to read the yes, Tamara will get the resolution. All right, yep. Because Shem mentioned Drew Ali. I didn't want that to get lost. You mentioned Drew Ali, and we want to put this in this, because we have to spend the time in order for, thank you very much, greatly appreciate you. We have to spend the time We've been spending, for the past year and a half, we've been spending a lot of time, which is rightfully so, we need to, in clarifying misconcepts. Lucy, you got some explaining to do. A lot of misconcepts. This 1933 Legislative Journal, House, Philadelphia, is a grave misconcept. Moors, nationalized Moors, have used Resolution 75 in their documents. They have referred, they've been guided by nationalized Moors to do that. And I want you to follow me mentally as I read this. And I want you to ask your question as I read this. Why in the world would you use this? Here we go. 1933, Legislative Journal, House, page 5759, resolution number 75. Mr. Witkin, Mr. Speaker, I desire at this time to call upon resolution number 75, printer's number 1034. Is it off? The resolution was read by the clerk as follows. In the House of Representatives, April 17, 1933, many sons and daughters of that proud and handsome race which inspired the architecture of Northern Africa and carried into Spain the influence of its artistic temperaments have become citizens of this nation. In the city of Philadelphia, there exists a Moorish American society made up of Moors who have found here the end of their quest for a home, and of the children of those who journeyed here from the plains of Morocco. This society has done much to bring about a thorough absorption by these people of those principles which are necessary to make them good American citizens. These Moorish Americans have since being here missed the use of the titles and names annexations that were so familiar at home, at home, and which are used in the accordance with the doctrines of the religious faith to which they are adherents. Therefore be it resolved that this House commends the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia for the efficient service it has rendered the nation in bringing about a speedy and thorough Americanization of these former Moors, and that in accordance with the foolish right of religious independence guaranteed every citizen, we recognize also the right of these people to use the name affixes Il or Bay or the Il or Ali or Bay or any other prefix or suffix to which they have heretofore been accustomed to use, or which they may hereafter acquire the right to use. On the question, will the House adopt the resolution? It was adopted May 4th, 1933. They got this from Drew Ali. The Moorish American Society followed Drew Ali. And we are part and parcel of this said government and must live the life accordingly. The members of the Society of Philadelphia, the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia, got this plan, got the idea that Moors are citizens of the United States from Noble Jew Ali. They didn't make that up. They got it from Noble Jew Ali. Article 4 or 5 of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Constitution and Bylaws, Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Constitution and Bylaws. Moors are part and parcel of this said government and must live the life accordingly. That's from Jew Ali. We got some explaining to do, Lucy. That's a grave misconcept. We have to address this. We can't leave it unaddressed. We have to clarify that is a grave misconcept. That misconcept has been going on for 100 years. And it passed through Great Seal and others, and this misconcept, bringing our people back into the Constitution for the government, leading us to invoke United States Constitution, Article 1, Article 2, First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Third, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, where we're not asking for a Moorish consul, C-O-N-S-U-L, but we're asking for a supervisor, all right? That's the grave, that's comes from that. That's a grave misconcept. You got to go, where did the misconcept begin? Why did the members of the Moorish American Society of Philadelphia think that they're citizens of Morocco, of United States? And it says former Moors. This has been pushed for years. I came into the movement. This was given to me. When our brother was here on the, we had the December 19th, the winter solstice celebration. So before we started, a brother, in fact, this was upside down, and he was reading it upside down instead of turning it right side up. So I walked over to him and I turned it right side up. I noticed that it was upside down. And I said, what did you get out of this? And it says, it acknowledges our use of the being ill. So I said, well, that's down here. Like, you didn't read the first 2 paragraphs? That's at the bottom. That's at the bottom of the last paragraph. And the last paragraph has about 20 lines. And that's like line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 15 lines. That's like line 13. I said, so you bypass all this. I said, brother, yeah, but then he says, well, what they say here, somebody says this. I said, no, brother. I don't want you to tell me what somebody else said. Brother, you have the document right here. Read it. Tell me, I wanted you to tell me what you say, not what somebody else to say. So he's reading it. Then, of course, he reads former Moors. He says, man, I ain't using that. Exactly. They bypass all this former Moors, journey from someone other distant land, and all right, an Americanization, and they bypass all of that colored, false, deceptive, misleading language, birthright stealing, denationalization language, bypass all that, and then go to what? The last 3 lines of a 40-line resolution. The last 3 lines, they go there. So this is, we got some explaining to do here. Abdullah, you're banging on Jew Ali. Now that's your perception. That's your perception. Your perception is I'm banging on Jew Ali. That's your perception. We're going to get some people in the feed. We're going to get that. We're going to get that. We're going to get it. I already know. I already know. I know. All right. I already know. I'm living here right now. I'm standing. I'm breathing. I am going to defend our people. I'm going to defend and stand for this Moorish flag. I'm not going to give my mind over to no one. I'm not giving my mind over. I'm not submitting my mind to Noble Jew Ali. I'm not submitting my mind to no one. No one will I submit my mind to. I read the document to you. I read Article 5, Article 4, Act 4, Act 5 of the Moorish Scientific America Constitution and Bylaws. I read the divine warning. Jew Ali pushed that we're United States citizens. The treaties that I have in Moors and Masonry, listing over 100 treaties I have listed in Moors and Masonry. Treaties between Moroccan Empire and Netherlands, the Moroccan Empire and Great Britain, Moroccan Empire and France. I'm going to that. That's Moorish Empire in government structure. I see Imperial Divan. I see Bey, the title Bey in those treaties. I see the Moorish government. I see the interchange, treaties, exchanging of prisoners and captivities and settling in that. In the 1600s, 1700s, wars. And I'm not giving my mind. Show me that we're United States citizens. They said you're not. Dred Scott versus Stanford, 1854 to 1857 said you're not. The treaty between His Imperial Majesty, the Emperor of Morocco, and the United States, Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1787, signed by Muhammad ibn Abdullah under the authority of this flag on June 1786. 3 years later, on December 1st, 1789, George Washington writes Muhammad ibn Abdullah, apologizing for not keeping up with regular correspondence and also not thanking the Sultan for acknowledging the United States and for honoring the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. We talk about Moors and government structure, sovereign power and authority under this Moorish flag. How in the world are Moors United States citizens? We have to. You're banging on Jew Ali. That's your perception. I love you anyway. I'm not doing this to be liked. I'm not in no popularity contest. I'm going to speak the truth, read the documents, point things out. I don't care if you don't like me. I'm not standing here for you to like me. I don't care if you like me or not. I don't care if you don't like me. I will speak the truth. I can't be afraid because I want to be liked. I don't care about being liked. I care about our people being free. Shem, take over, please.
And add on what you say, Professor Abdul, you cannot show me in the Lenape Treaty, listen again, the Lenape Nation. You cannot show me in the Lenape Nation Treaty that the Lenape told their people to become United States citizens. So not and because see, a lot of y'all got this thing messed up about the Iroquois too. They were Moors. They never say in that treaty. They never say in that constitution they was Indians. See, the problem is we haven't been controlling the education. We've been being indoctrinated. This is why this is very important. With Professor App, listen, there's no damn body right now on the planet doing what this man doing right now. I'm being for real. No, hear me out, brother. When it comes down to helping us, who helping us? Now, who helping us? No. I know that. I'm talking about, when I said, I mean, we talking about somebody, the engineer. I agree with you 100%. But what we seen was going on now is that men and women that should be honored now, that's doing something, willing to sacrifice their time, their life, their income, take head on whatever come at them, and then say, I'm going to rely on nature and divinity to protect me right now at a time like this. Because that's what we need to get back to our motherland. Now, there's no, Abdullah right, there's nothing in the Lenape Nation saying that United States citizens. See, the problem is this has happened when you get people hooked on, like a man get hooked on heroin and crack and angel dust. You get a social connection in body on misconcepts, and you don't care whoever they come from. All you saying, look, this is handed down this generation follow it, I'm gonna keep doing it. And then ask yourself now, what is it doing for you? Right now, what is it doing for you? I done had a man call me and told me that they did all this stuff for him and told him they ain't doing nothing for him. So what I'm saying is that let's just go back and do what our ancestors did. Love the land. Love Morocco. Love your motherland. Stand up for your motherland. You know what stand up for your motherland is? It's the conscience. The conscience first. To accept whatever ridicules or whatever persecution comes, that I got to do this because your motherland, everybody else is using their motherland, their flag to protect their rights.
Before Shem continue, turn real quick.
Yeah.
I have to, let me acknowledge Tamara Ill, who's been with Shem and me from day one. I'm going to acknowledge the caucus, United Republic of Morocco, whose tireless efforts, I bow to y'all. I bow to y'all. Thank you. I bow to y'all. And I want to acknowledge those who have sent donations, their support and love, who have volunteered, who's come to the embassy to volunteer their efforts to help. Brother Terrence, I want to give great honor to Brother Terrence. So I want to thank all of you, all right, because that needs to be said, all right, and thank you again. So Shem will continue here.
Was talking about provincial governments, and that's what we should stay on, because until we get that together so we can all come together and ask the mother to come back to our motherland and get protected by our mother. And without a land, a nation, you living in this world, something is wrong. Nobody living unless they got a motherland. All these other nations putting their motherland flag up, hold on to their motherland, say they'll fight for it, do everything in the world for it, and we turn around and like, well, where did she go? We don't know where she at. She right here, you standing in her. So we got make claim of, you got abandonment and guardianship. This is what is wrong with Morocco. Morocco is in a state of abandonment, and she's under guardianship, military occupy. governments that sign treaties with the Moors and then turn around and injure their people. Moors abandonment their Moors governments and sovereignty by not claim their own Moors consanguinity. That's true. Some Moors are afraid of it. I do agree with Professor Abdullah. Majority of the Moors are afraid of the claim they Moors consanguinity because it's the repercussions. So he's right about that. Nobody can even go against that. That's majority. That's one of the big reasons why they want to claim it. All right, guardianship. Moors estates are in the hands of a protector who sets up a political structure to rule over the Moors estates. Benefactors, Catholic magistracy, the crowns of Europe, and they appointed trustees, United States. That's why the United States of North America. The United States, that's their trustees. That's to make sure the county got a private advisory commission with their own constitution called United States of North America. And what they're doing is they're taking care of all the crown and the department's affairs, making sure all the money get where it need to go at. If you don't pay, you go to jail. Under the principles of the international law and treaty, the Moors have a right to pre-exemptory rights to reclaim. Okay, right. I didn't know you putting that. Okay, abandonment and guardianship. Political structures has been set up to rule over the Moors estates. A lot of y'all don't know that the Pope of Rome signed a treaty. The Catholic magistrate, I believe it was over 1840 something, and the treaty was 18. It's right after the Ghent Treaty. Right after the Ghent Treaty. The Ghent Treaty, 1819, right? It's not too far after that. The Pope signed a treaty, United States, and the Pope gave United States, relinquished United States more political jurisdiction. This is why United States is able to go and do business with the do a treaty with the United Mexican States, which is the United Moor States. They were Moors. Mexicans are Moors. So you hear United Mexican States, that's the Moors estates that was conquered by King Philip. They still retain so much of their sovereignty. But even in that, they warn against each other because they go into the United States and they enter into the Waterloo Treaty. See, what's going on here is that the United States is being relinquished all this political jurisdiction by sovereigns, occupying sovereigns and Elodian sovereigns of blood consanguinity. And now the Moors estates are being ruled by these foreigners, immigrants, who right now today, when it comes down to somebody testing the validity of their power to do what they're doing, them same people, get over here, Professor so-and-so, he get up there. Well, you know, Article 6 of the Constitution. Now, these are treaties. So United States is allowed to do this because they have a treaty. See what they're doing now? See, these people know what they're doing. They come and claim treaty because they said they ain't got no standing. You better throw a treaty up there, even in international law, the World Court. They talk about treaty. What did that tell us as Moors? You're supposed to say, I'm doing the same thing. I'm dealing with treaty. I'm dealing with treaty. I'm dealing with treaty. That's the only logical, solid foundation that you need to stand on is your blood quantity. You got to have that. Come on now. This stuff is being taught in a school system. This is the inheritance handed down. This is being taught in a government-run school system. And the curriculum is picked in a very touchy way. In that, it only got you to observe and obey commandments and orders. You're indoctrinated. You're not educated. You're only indoctrinated to obey commandments and orders. You're not taught about what is blood pedigree, what is inheritance. That you don't supposed to know that. That's why I said what we're doing is very important. Now we're dealing with benefactors. The Catholic magistracy and the crowns of Europe and the Moorish independent nations here. The Deys, the Beys, the Sultans, the Moorish kings, queens, and empresses. They are the benefactors. They're the benefactors. The benefactors are them. And don't forget the Moors. The Moor head of states, the Moors government. They're the benefactors. The Moors governments. These are the benefactors. So it's kind of, it's deep how Abdullah could be my father and I'm his son. It's deep how Abdullah could leave me something and have all this land and all this wealth. And when Abdullah passed away, sitting and smiling, I got cheese, look. Because I'm going to inherit something. Where do that come from? To ability to take an inheritance. That's something that got to be taught. Even in the fraudulent system of fraud, this concept is still being taught. And here we are talking about coming off a dramatic recovery of brain damage, birthright theft. And knowing that in a fraudulent system, the people still making a claim to certain wealth and land and stuff, even though they got them as a color with title, they black and they ain't got no status, so the title's still in the guardianship protector. But when that government come back, what Professor Abdul was talking about, under that flag, when the provincial governments come together and form that one central government, and they come back, all that change. It all changed. When the provincial governments come together, one central body under that flag, under the sovereignty of that flag, the protector and guardianship is no longer needed. Your government, your mother come in and takes guardianship, protector over you now. That's who take care of your land. Your motherland takes care of you now because that's what you claim your sovereignty under her, which is the land and water. So you see why this is very important. Man, listen. This provincial governments, when Tamara and you y'all was talking about this, because y'all hatched it up and it was agreed to for the caucus. That was right on point. That sister and Professor Abdul brought that concept up and said, if you're going to move, you got to move like that because that's the structure coming together to claim this land, this nation. How's you going to do it? Ain't no individual going to do that. Show me one. I'm getting to talk. I do believe we have going to 18th century. A brother. I don't know his name. I can't say his name. I like to give him honor and tribute. The brother was teaching about more stuff. He got stabbed up. He got hacked up by his own people. Then after that, later on down the line, Noble Drew Ali get beat to death. So we see we got a problem with the Moors. It comes down to structure and stuff. Even among our leadership positions, they don't respect each other. That's one thing we got to learn. Having provincial governments is going to be a great thing. Okay. The principle of international law and the treaties, the Moors, have a right to pre-exhibitory rights to reclaim their own Moorish birthright, which is their birthright inheritance, land and estate. Yes. Now, the Moors, this 2020, went out, unconscious Moors, and some conscious, went out and filled out a registration application for voting. What you just did? You just turned around and became a surety all over again. Then you became a debtor, and they continue your creditor, because that's a form of disnationalization. And you can't claim no birthright, inherit claim for to land and estate, resident as a resident of the state, because you're not protected under alienation, not as a non-residential alien. So you're not protected by treaty. And you don't have any, you're making a consanguinity claim, so they're looking at you as still as one thing. They don't want to tell you this, but you're a refugee. You are a refugee and a resident. What you mean, Shem? Refugee and a resident. Your mother went on a voyage, a vessel, no passport, no paperwork, no flag. Deliver her goods and place them in the hands of a foreign nation that's in treaty with Morocco. But she did not tell them that she was a Moor. She did not have papers to back her up. Neither did she have a passport. So now her child goes on a vessel of someone else. They become property now. Now the child becomes property of the state, the political organization. Now the mother just be somebody you consider as be granted certain rights to do certain things for their property. But as far as they're concerned, that's property of the state. The state gonna tell them how to think, when to move, what school to go through, how they gonna get any money that coming to them, anything dealing with their land, the state gonna handle that. They're a refugee. That means they lost at sea. And they came on somebody else's vessel, and they're getting what you call shelter. They're getting shelter. What you mean? They're getting taken care of, fed, housing, clothing, protection. You free though. You get protection under this flag right here, all this under this flag, and you don't have a central government, and the treaty say under this flag. Something wrong with that. But everybody 2020 went out and said, I'm a Democrat, and start voting. The fact that the Democrats, you can go and open them up real wide and show that all that's a bunch of fraud and trickery, and that's their in-house thing. And yet at the same time, rather than come and have your own elections and say we got enough knowledge, we're gonna build our own government, provincial governments. Now it's time to wake up. You made a mistake. You don't turn around and put something in their hands now. Now they want to, after they turn around and do that, they go on TV and say we're going to be turning around and poison black and brown people. Damn, the man went out open on TV and opened his mouth and say you're going to shoot up brown and black people, meaning people with no nationality. You notice he said brown and black. That's not a nationality. He didn't say more. After this man made that statement, you got the audacity to still go there and hold them and still hold that political thing up and do what you got to do. You see what indoctrination done to you? Special ed. You dysfunctioning, that's all. They got a place for you. They will kill you sooner or later anyway. They don't tell you open and you can't see it anyway. You know, I guess you figured though, listen, that's the only life we got. That's why we put the structure up so you can escape this. You know, the storm started already, and now we're trying to put structure up so you can escape the storm. Get you on a vessel, get you to your motherland, so your ship won't be stranded at sea and can't get to the port, and she get wrecked at sea. Then when she wrecked at sea, then she becomes salvage. Anybody can take her then. That's right.
All right. Let me read this.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Customary international law and treaties. We have a preemptory right, just cogence. All right, these are terms that we need to come to know. Peremptory, yeah. Not open, all right, peremptory, all right, and let's come back over here, man. Command through Pharaoh. All right, prefix PER, Pharaoh or through, imp. All right, as emperor. All right, empire. All right, means command. Not open to appeal or challenge. Final. Just cogent. The principles which form the norms of international law that cannot be set aside. So the right to life. Land, that's your right to life. Without land, you can't sustain yourself. So right to life. Right to life is preemptory. It's peremptory, not open to appeal or challenge, final. Just cogent principle. The principles which form the norms of international law that cannot be set aside. All right, so we're making a post-millennium claim. Post-millennium claim. So post-millennium claim dealing with restoration after capture. We are in captivity. Our people are in captivity, massive captivity on our land. We're making a preemptory claim, a just cogent claim, a post-millennium claim through Moorish government structure. We're speaking for our people classified as Negro, colored, black, Indian, West Indian, Latino, Puerto Rican. But it must be done through government structure so we can be heard and have what? The political leverage, our national unity among the various Moorish body politics, Moorish government into a central governing body will give us the political leverage. Our individualists, that's not our culture. It's individual. We're weak that way. Divided you fall. Divided you'll never stand. Never will you stand as divided. Never. You will never stand as divided. United, we stand strong. Give us the political leverage to speak for our people. I don't care about being liked. I'll leave here tonight. Rest my head on my pillow. I don't care about being liked. Don't like me. Like your people. Don't have loyal to me. Don't be loyal to me. Please do not be loyal to me. Be loyal to the principles, because if I fall this second away from the principles, if I move this second from the principles, if I move this second from the principles right now. Walk away right now from the principles. You walk away from me. You stand on the principles, not the man. You back the principle, not the man. I'm emphasizing this because I've seen this play out. They'll still follow the man or woman in their violation because they're loyal to the man or woman and not to the principle. I've seen it played out in this movement. They'll be corrupt like the one. They'll follow the corruption. They'll be aligned with the corruption and not the principle. Stand for the principle. Don't be loyal to me. Be loyal to the principle. If I fall this second, you stay on the principle because that's what it's about. That's why I stay on that stage. Give that. I apologize about that, Tamara. Back up. So we're going to wrap this up. All right. What we're going to do next 10 minutes, next 15 minutes, and then I'll go into the marketing of the.
Hey, that's beautiful. That's that there.
So
So
we-
direct. And
So we got day 20. All right. So go ahead.
something I just, yeah, it's on. This is something that I just brought in real briefly. It's nothing a lot. It's just something I wanted Abdullah to read, go back in some history, so that people can understand about dealing with foreign jurisdictions and councils and why provincial governments are needed. Yeah, the foreign council. All right, let me get that. Hey. Yeah, but I put it up there, but I didn't. What Abdullah? Well, I'm looking up the. All right. Okay. This is dealing with the foreign consulate in the medieval Europe, and this going back to with the time of the Crusades, and showing that these provincial governments, these governments operating anciently on this principle that they're doing now and trying to hide it as if it's something new and strange, and that it wasn't existing, that it don't exist. But this is dealing with foreign jurisdictions. It's dealing with the Crusades. I'm gonna read the first, right here, and it's talking about the time of the Crusades and the history and past. All right. The point is that, in the foreign nations back in the time when the Moors ruled, there wasn't nothing new about extraterritorial dealing with judges being the councils, or judges is ordained by the head of state, a special judge or someone ahead of special disputes dealing with treaty. And this go all the way back to the Moorish territory. When you hear Germany, you hear Sweden, you hear all these ancient names. You know, you first thing you start thinking about Albion, but it's not an Albion. There's actually Moors that was ruling. And this is how the Albions learned the government. These Albion nations learned the government. They was to clans and tribes. They learned government through this. So I'm gonna go to something. I'm gonna go here to, which is personality of law. No, I don't want that one. No, I don't want to have. Okay, I'm sorry. I got it. I'm sorry. Okay, personality of laws and diplomatic asylum. The principle of personality of laws bears a causal relationship to the development of extraterritorials and further manifest by a very interesting bit of evidence. In this study of diplomat asylum, Professor John Bassett Moore has traced this extraordinary privilege of ambassadors to the time when territorial sovereignty was unknown in the intercourse of nations. He showed further that the decline of diplomatic asylum has been a slow process and that in the history of modern Europe, survival of the decaying institutions have not been uncommon. The practice being especially enduring in Spain, where late as 1873, a political refuge was sheltered by the British minister at Madrid. Practically, the same thing was may be said of Esther territory and on its origins is attributed to the absence of absolute territorial sovereignty and the accompanying tradition of the personality of laws. While it is surviving in Europe, accompanying I got this surviving in Europe as well may be shown later in this chapter, are equally reminiscence of the what's that? You gotta help me here. These words, some of these words here. Right here. Something right here. Reminiscent of the tardiness of as it well been shown late in this chapter. As epically, I got to I read that one tardiness of his decline. But what is most interesting of all is the fact that just a diplomatic asylum lineaging long in Spain, so were extraordinary rights maintained there at a very late date. By the capitalization of 1783 and 1799, Spain, okay, I brought this up to show that this is something that they learned from the Moors. This is documented. So what we're doing is going back to what we already been doing, our ancestors have been doing already, which is running government, being officials, being a representative to occupy that government, that flag that's part of your motherland. So the bottom line is, in order for that to happen, the Moors provincial governments have to come and claim their sovereignty. They have to be able to write their tents down on paper among their populations, self-determination, and then we come together, and now we claim the flag under our motherland because we're all from our motherland. As provincial government, we come together into one central body, and then we'll sign a treaty, and now we're able to now deposit that flag, protecting all the Moors provincial government, not just looking out for ourselves. Ain't nobody in this for themselves. We in this for our people. Go ahead, Professor.
Thank you, everyone. Yes, yes. So there's a Moorish provincial government. All right. You go to the United Republic of Morocco.com, UnitedRepublicOfMorocco.com, and what page is that? Political body politics.
That's what page, the third page?
Yes. Moorish body politics. All right. United Republica of Morocco.com. You click on Moorish. That's what it reads? All right. Body politics. That's when you click on this. All right. UnitedRepublicOfMorocco.com. Body politics. All right. So we have instructions there. All right. Time. First, go to the timeline of events. All right, so they'll click on what? They'll see body politics, and then go right to timeline of events. So don't go to body politics?
He lay all that.
No, I'm saying when they click, all right, I'm asking, I'm asking you a specific question. I'm asking you specific. All right, so they go to UnitedRespublicanMorocco.com. So they're not going to click on this.
Just click on timeline of events.
That's what I'm trying to get. Yeah, I'm trying to.
just pick-
So you're going to click on timeline and events.
Which will lay out everything.
All right, that's right. Yeah, I just want to know what they click on.
It will show you that. It'll lay out everything.
So when, all right, go to the UnitedRespublicanMorocco.com and click on timelines of events. I want to know when they go to this, they're going to click on timelines of events. That's what I want them. I want them to click on timeline of events. So you won't click on body politics. You're not going to click on body politics. You're going to click on timeline of events.
And that will show you everything.
That's it. I mean, it's just
structure. Everything
that's what I'm trying to do is just give them something that's simple. Boom. They see this and go timeline of events.
Right. And then in that
Right,
timeline
so-
of events, it got the table of contents.
Right.
Everything.
And then they'll see everything in the timeline of events.
Yes.
So you don't click on body politics. Yeah, you got to give them specific. I'm going to give them specific timeline of events. That's what they're going to click on. Timeline of events. That's all. So not body politics. All right. So we have here United Republic of Morocco. All right. So we're going to give we have a grammar course, a 7-week grammar course, a 7-week grammar course. All right. So you go to the United Republic of Morocco and you click on Academy of Providence. All right. So United Republic of Morocco, Academy of Providence. So give them the simple steps. Now, I'm going to write a couple sentences on board. So we have here tense. We have aspect. I don't know if you've ever heard of aspect. All right. Tense deals with when. Aspect deals with how. Dealing with the frequency of an action, state or condition, duration, frequency, duration, and whether it was been completed, whether action, state or condition has been completed or not completed. Completed or not completed. So we get down to more detail. So we're looking at here of grammar, meaning, and critical thinking. Grammar, meaning, and critical thinking. That is the focus, direction, angle of the class. Grammar, meaning, and critical thinking. When you were taught grammar in school, you were taught some rules, syntax. You were taught syntax, the structure. You weren't taught semantics or meanings. The meaning of the structure. The idea that the structure is conveying. Critical analysis of the structure. You were just taught the syntactical presentation, not the semantical and the critical analysis. All right, so you're going to be getting what you haven't gotten in the schools is the meaning and critical analysis. So this lesson on difference between tense, it deals with when. aspects. So I'm going to put a couple sentences on the board. How an action, condition, or state is unfolded. How is it unfolded? So we have, that's the how. When? What's the reference point? That's just action, but then going to the frequency, duration, whether the action was completed, state completed, or whether it was not completed. All right, that's aspects. All right, here we go. Yep, that's all I need. That's all I need. I wrote a book. I have been writing a book for 2 years. I have written a book in 2 years. All right? Conveys different ideas. I wrote a book. All right? That's tense, right? Wrote a book. Past tense. So it's just past tense. All right? So I wrote a book. The event, so I'm speaking now. I said, Shem, I wrote a book about a past action. Not idea of when I finished it. All right? Is the book finished? When did I get the book finished? All right? None that's conveyed there. I have been writing a book for 2 years. Have been writing, that's present, perfect, progressive. Present, perfect, progressive. All right? I have been writing a book for 2 years, which means how is the activity being unfolded? I'm still working on it. This is an ongoing process. It doesn't indicate when I got it done. I'm not done. I have been writing a book for 2 years, ongoing. It's unfolding. I have written, that is present, all right? Present perfect. Present perfect tense. Present perfect tense. So there's an idea of completion. There's 2 elements of time. And I have been writing a book. I have been writing 2 elements of time, meaning that the action began sometime in the past. 2 years ago, my writing a book began 2 years ago, and it's continuing in the present. All right? I have written a book in 2 years. That's completion, indicating in the prepositional phrase in 2 years. Preposition in of time, meaning that it's completed. I have written a book in 2 years. I'm completed the project. All right? So this connects with the Moore's activity at government once again, with the focus is not just on syntax as you were taught in school. It's the added emphasis on meaning and critical analysis. So critical analysis and meaning, writing, knowing what idea are you trying to convey, reading, what idea is being conveyed, what element of time are you trying to convey? Idea of completion or not completion? How do you want the idea, how do you want the event, condition, or state to unfold? All right? All that's critical analysis and meaning. So we're looking at grammar, semantics, that's dealing with meaning, and critical analysis, not just syntax as you were taught in school. All right? All right? You have to have critical analysis skills. The problem, what it means. We have a bunch of parrots. What it means for Moroccan government is not get them to be parrots. Once they're no longer parrots and get them into critical analysis, they can govern. They can govern because they have critical analytical skills. They can analyze, loosen it up. They can analyze, loosen it up. They can take something that's together and they can what? Take it apart. They can see the component parts. They can see the component parts of a project, the component parts of what they read, the component parts of what they hear. That's critical analysis. So by seeing the component parts and then what? Put it back together. See it from its whole, analyzing. So the key for us is critical analysis. That's the emphasis. You can't govern nothing, nobody, without that skill. We got a bunch of parrots. We got to move from parroting, like the brother was here. The brother was here who was reading the winter solstice that night. He said, now, here we go. What does it do? He read it upside down. I mean, he didn't turn it right side up. He went immediately to the third to the last sentence. Out of 30 sentences, he went to the third to the last sentence that, you know, they acknowledge, they acknowledge our Ilm Bay. Then he went on and said, well, I said, brother, what do you see in it? Yeah, but what they say in the temple, or what they say. See, no, brother, what do you say? This is what does for the Moroccan government. They got to be able to do this. They had to be able to analyze, all right? They had to be able to dissect. So that what? They're not going to surrender more sovereignty. They're not being subjected to the opinions of a foreign power. They will be able to be in position mentally, to defend more sovereignty. So once again, Hooked on Grammar is the name of the course. Hooked on Grammar. Critical analysis. Hooked on Grammar. Go to the United Republic of Morocco.com and click on Academy of Providence. All right? So thank you again for listening to my big mouth. All right? I love all of y'all. All right? Thank you again. And I'll see you next Saturday. Class starts next Saturday, January 16th, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'll see you in 8 days. Hooked on Grammar. All right? United Republic of Morocco, Academy of Providence. Thank you very much. Peace. All right, 7 minutes. All right. So 7 minutes. Great. Go ahead, Shem. Answer the question about flag not being raised. All right.
Thank you, Tamara, for reminding me. The question is what, Tamara? Question? Okay. The flag is not raised because the provincial government. Can you hear me? Oh, yes. The question is, why ain't the Moorish flag raised? Why the Moorish flag is not raised? You couldn't raise the Moorish flag under one government. That's not legitimacy. The Moorish flag cannot be raised because that wouldn't be political legitimacy. That means all the provincial governments wouldn't have a say and their sovereignty to be protected under that flag. This is why the provincial governments are doing their own constitutions, their populations, and their elections. This is why the Moorish governments are going to the website and learning how to see the process and having a Moorish provincial government. You cannot raise a flag that's not political legitimacy, raising a mother flag, and all these other provincial governments under here have not formed a constitution, have a right to be protected under that flag. So you can't raise something unless you get the political legitimacy. So we can't raise that flag. We need our brothers and sisters, sister Moorish governments to do their constitution, ratify it, have they seal, they flag, then come together under one central government body and sign a treaty. Now, what does that do? That brings in the political legitimacy. Why, Shem? That's what they were doing in ancient time. Therefore, that gives them the right through that treaty. Now, later on down the line, they can form an international constitution, a national constitution for all of them. But they need a treaty first. So in order to raise that flag, no one Moorish government can raise that flag. How one Moorish government going to raise that flag? What that mean? That means that raise that flag under one Moorish government, you saying you the Pharaoh, or you saying you the Sultan over all these other governments. Who appointed you? Who elected you? See, I said that's not political legitimacy. See, we listen, we honest. You cannot raise that flag because it won't be political legitimacy. Period. That's just how it is. Now you have a lot of people like Professor Abdullah say, claiming they want on flag and I can do what I want. You sure can. You can buy them and raise it up. But it's a deposit. Is it deposit in a proper place where they're going to recognize all of y'all of the motherland? It's not to be, this isn't a selfish thing here. This is political legitimacy. That's why we're doing it this way, so it can be legitimate, so nobody will be taken advantage of. Any other questions, Tamara? That's it? Okay. Yes, the website, like before, Tamara said, you go to United Republic of Morocco.com and you go there. Would you type in Tamara? Click on the timeline of events, and then that will show you the whole protocol, everything. You can see everything when you want to go in. You want to go in here. You want to go in here. It all talks about everything that we do in the United Republic is doing to put together for the provincial governments. So what I'm saying is this right here. I do love this sister for one thing. She realized that ain't nobody did this. Nobody. She can go back to the 17th century. Ain't nobody done this. Yes. That's Abdul, working man. Yes. So I'm glad that we came together, the caucus, and I'm glad that from day one, Tamara fell right in. She's seen, and I just say this, Tamara is. I've been dealing with Moors, and I'm being honestly from the time I met Abdul, when he pulled me out of freeze in 2006. I've been dealing with Moors, so-called know all or know everything. And they can't even touch that noble sister right there. They ain't not even the level that sits there right now. She the petty, she make them look embarrassed. Not to hurt their feelings. But see, sometimes some things ought to come from a woman. Because sometimes to slap a man, you need a woman to slap him. He'll go crazy and fight a man, but sometimes a woman come in and for the time since I've been dealing with her, with me, Professor Abdullah, we ain't never let nothing got personal. We hinder us in trying to protect our people and trying to give our people what we need. Go, Professor.
All right, everyone. All right, so we're going to close out. Thank you again for tuning in with us. All right. Once again, Hooked on Grammar, your way, 8 days. That's next Saturday, January 16th, Eastern Standard Time, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hooked on Grammar, go to, once again, UnitedRepublicOfMorocco.com and click on Academy of Providence. All right. Coming your way 8 days. I'll see y'all in 8 days. The grammar course, Hooked on Grammar. Thank you again. Peace.